To every man his chance. To every man, regardless of his birth, his shining golden opportunity to work, to be himself, and to become whatever thing his manhood and his vision can combine to make him. There are many roads that lead to Chapel Hill. From the 100 counties of North Carolina herself, from all states of the Union, from all continents of the world, men and women find their way to Chapel Hill to walk the brick and gravel paths of the university. Perhaps from 10,000 miles away or more to Chapel Hill. A long way. Too long. Simply to read a book, study a language, learn to sing or write or speak or solve a formula. These different people, individuals, all here in the country of Chapel Hill. What brings them here? What reason makes them send their children back, perhaps from half around the world to Chapel Hill? Spring is a reason, when the campus turns white with dogwood, following hard upon the beauty of the red Judas trees. Spring turns every building into something of a picture postcard, with a co-ed walking through it. Fall is a reason, on a campus of oak, walnut, and maple. Leaves cover the ground. The wind rustles with a mid-south temperature. Informality is a reason, on a campus spread out spaciously on a hilltop. This is the new medical school and hospital. Keenan Stadium seats about 45,000. And grouped near the center of the campus are the dormitories, classrooms, laboratories, and offices, with those modern facilities needed for the service of a great university. One of the oldest of our buildings is South Building, which holds offices of the President, Controller, and Chancellor. Here are decided matters of policy, purpose, and finance. The oldest building is Old East, across the street from the Carolina Playmakers Theater, once the library, now replaced in that function by this more imposing structure. There are about 20 classroom buildings on the campus, some of them more than 100 years old. They reflect various concepts of architecture, a few now dated by mid-century taste. Many of the dormitories at Carolina are relatively new. However, the new ones are not generally so shaded, so pleasantly isolated by years as the older ones. The fraternity and sorority houses are attractively planned and add a formal pattern to the campus. Woolen Gymnasium is one of the more complete in the South. The Student Union building is Graham Memorial. Buildings for Chapel Hill statewide extension work are also here, as are headquarters for the Naval ROTC and the Air Corps Reserve Unit. The only planetarium on a university campus is housed in the Moorhead building. On these steps are the best critics of university change, the alumni, who thoughtfully observe each structure as it is being built. The main street of Chapel Hill borders the campus on the north, complete with parking zones and soft drink signs. It graduates down to the post office on one side and yields to the dominance of a towering church steeple on the other. Chapel Hill, village and campus, is a quiet place to live and work. Here the scientist may pursue his search with approved patience, his study of large subjects in tiny drops of liquid. His turning and revolving of formulas, working, discovering in a relaxed atmosphere. It's not without beauty, experimenting with nature. There is time in Chapel Hill for thinking, browsing, expressing. Not only that type of expression which carries over the sound waves of a statewide radio network, but self-expression in the design of art, the feeling for balance and design. Cultural life in Chapel Hill is quite well-rounded by professional and student artists. Stage productions are frequent and well-received. Chapel Hill is the drama center of the Southeast. In music, there are glee clubs, orchestras, the North Carolina Symphony. And for balance, there is recreation. The university's indoor and outdoor pools are popular with students and faculty. There are 2 golf courses and excellent tennis courts. Always there is instruction, then practice. Often there are tournaments. Intramural for beginners, intercollegiate for the practiced. Carolina ranks high in almost all sports, but football is king in autumn. Parades are preceded by jumping students and marching bands, as the more conservative watch from the sidewalks. Old Chapel Hill makes way for the clash with some companion North Carolina university, Wake Forest, State, or Duke, or interstate rivals such as Tennessee, Virginia, Georgia, Notre Dame, and Texas. At night, the torches are carried through the center of the village and across campus to the bonfire for cheers, songs, and speeches. Noon the next day brings double lines of cars on all highways, patrolmen waving them on, students, alumni, friends of Carolina with a mingling of opposition supporters. An average of more than 40,000 people a game stream to Keene Stadium. They come to see a George Barkley or a Charlie Justice fight for Carolina. No, every play at Carolina is not a touchdown. But often there is the spectacular run or the long completed pass. The parade, torches, cheers. the winning or losing. So football weekends close at Carolina. The campus is shaded. Life is pleasant. There is a village with the spirit of youth and an atmosphere for work. Not unimportant reasons for Chapel Hill, but not all. There is something more distinct to Carolina than all of this. It concerns the opening of a door in Graham Memorial. 3 men talking near the Moorhead Planetarium. The tacking of a poster to a tree. It started years ago, before Old East was new, when the nation was bullet holes and burlap, and the fire of war was cold under freedom. Freedom for the states, but mostly for the man. So it was written down plain enough by the men of the 13 colonies. And a year or so later, in 1789, North Carolina opened the doors of her university, the first of any of the 13 states. Young men found on maps the words Chapel Hill, a day's ride from Raleigh or Hillsborough, from the plantations of the North Carolina coastal plain, from small farms of Piedmont, Blue Ridge, and Smokies. They came to work and study under such men as Caldwell, Mitchell, and Swain. From them came governors and senators. A president was among them too. And it all began because of the freedom of the state, but most of all, the man. The buildings grew in number at this first state university, with freedom still in mind. So a poster is tacked to an oak in this country of Chapel Hill, and ballots are counted. Carolina pioneered in student government, which is almost as old as the university itself. Interest with some students is casual, with others intense, as meetings of the student legislature often show. The student budget amounts to over $100,000 a year, chiefly for publication. The yearbook, university magazines, and the Daily Tar Heel are published without even faculty supervision. There is a bit of freedom in this, too, as a man named Payne once said in Pennsylvania. And dignity is here, too, for students are trusted. On examination days, it is a campus tradition that professors leave their classroom, leave the student to their honor. For those who do not recognize the honor code, for those who break the few campus regulations, there are student courts. Student judges try their peers. They hold the power to suspend students from the university. In legislation, in courts, in administration, in meetings with South-moving officials, student government is an important element of Chapel Hill. And here too is freedom, with the faculty, experts in their fields, leaders of their students, freedom of speech, freedom of belief.
Your test papers prove all men are not created equal, Thomas Jefferson notwithstanding.
Americans consider progress in terms of washing machines and TV sets. That's inadequate. Are you any better than Socrates, Mr. Sims?
Educate a man and you educate an individual. Educate a woman and you educate a whole family.
Now, some learned men say they do not believe in God, but in evolution. Could not evolution be a study of the footprints of God?
The important part of an ox cart is not the wheels, but the idea. That lasts forever.
Mr. Chen, anything not worth saying in prose is not worth saying in poetry.
Education is not the molding of a man. It is a bringing out in the man the best that God has put in him.
Freedom of student and faculty. Then, too, that other Carolina freedom that permits friendship between faculty and student. There is lack of formality here. There is mutual respect, but not pretense. The students' problems are more important than articles to be written, the research half done, the papers to be graded. More important than getting home to dinner on time. There are many men who are remembered here, the faculty of North Carolina. They know that the student is more important than the routine that is established to serve him. No matter how confused he may be when he arrives, how lost in the careless network of buildings, how difficult it may be for him to reach a decision, for indeed, he may not know for what he plans to register even as he walks to find the end of the registration line. He may not be able to name 2 subjects in which he has the slightest interest. Regardless of this, the student is not lost for long. The fact that she is unsure of her classes does not surprise the veteran registrar. On one side of his desk is the undecided student. On the other, the registration details, the naming of paper, filing of cards, stamping of dates. Not indecision here. But the student is an individual, not part of the system. Of course, his need for work, his need for care, are provided by the university. But the Carolina student is not a statistic listed in the catalog. Statistics show that June comes every year, and with it commencement. On Saturday, parents and guests of the graduates are invited to meet the faculty on the North Campus. The chancellor is there, the deans, professors. The faculty, students, and parents on Sunday gather at Memorial Hall for the baccalaureate, the final challenge. Then the southern afternoon warms its way lazily through to evening, with considerable sightseeing and picture-taking for the new page in the family album. The senior explains to the freshman what the university is all about. The seniors, who will not be seeing each other for perhaps years to come, wander over the brick and gravel paths for the last formal word, gathering their determination about them. Late on Monday afternoon, seniors meet at the bell tower. Here there is handshaking and warm congratulations, while parents gather in Kenan Stadium, waiting in the cool of the evening, shifting position and glancing over their programs, waiting for the procession. Then the faculty gathers in late twilight. What do they remember, these students, in the inner mine of their memory? What echo do they hear from the stadium? What distant cheer on what Saturday of which year? What melody will be remembered? What melody will always be remembered? What sentence from what lecture?
Are you any better than Socrates, Mr. Sim? The important part of an ox cart is the idea. Perhaps we have discovered the footprints of God.
There are the first bars of the alma mater, way off in memory. Then the stadium section is full. The stage is set, the flags in colors. The sun moves lower as one by one and class by class, they become no longer students of Carolina and become students of the larger world, still groping toward freedom in maturity. They did not wear robes when they came to Carolina. They will not wear robes when they leave. They carry deeper symbols, clearly seen in the vision of their mind, in their eye for truth and human values. Back to the farms and cities of North Carolina, to all of the 100 counties, back to our coastal plain, Piedmont industry, Smoky Mountain valleys, men who will lead the state that leads the South, back to the North with changed values, back to the Far East with the word of the worth of the individual, back to Europe, the peaks of Switzerland and the farms of the Low Countries, to England, France, Sweden, back to the Americas, fanned from the tip of Chile to Venezuela and up the coast to north of Mexico. The Carolina men of vision. Yes, there are many roads that lead to Chapel Hill. But they go on from here and back again. And the men of Carolina, they will go on and will come back again.